students. This is Pharmaceutical Biotechnology, lecture number 15, Application of rDNA Technology and Genetic Engineering, part 2. We are going to continue with interferons, vaccine, hepatitis B, hormones, insulin. As we all know that in my last video lecture we have covered interferons. In this video lecture we are going to see the other two: vaccines, hepatitis B, hormones, insulin. So let us begin. Recombivax. Recombivax is nothing but recombinant hepatitis B vaccine, that is having a short form Recombivax. So let's go through the introduction. Hepatitis B virus, that is HBV, is one of the most infectious disease to a man, who estimated that there were 285 million chronic carriers of the virus worldwide. Hepatitis B is 50 to 100 times more infectious than AIDS. It results in irritation and swelling of the liver due to infection with the HBV. Types of HV, hepatitis virus, hepatitis A, hepatitis C, and hepatitis D. It produces chronic liver disorders such as chronic hepatitis, cirrhosis, and primary liver cancer. So you can see how dangerous this disease can be. As you can see, there are already 285 million chronic carriers of the virus in the whole world. So it is also infectious. This, you need to remember this one especially. It is really infectious, and how you can identify it: results in irritation and swelling of the liver due to infection. Okay. So vaccine production, if we go through the vaccine production, the hepatitis B recombinant vaccine produced from antigenic proteins of HBV by recombinant process that duplicates the chemical messages and secreted factors for the communication and activity of the immune cell. So basically, antigenic proteins are responsible for the production of hepatitis B recombinant vaccine. And this, what happens in this process, it duplicates the chemical messages. The chemical messages will duplicate, multiply, and secreted factors for communication and activity of immune cells. The nucleic acid of HBV has been identified as a 42 nanometer particle containing a double-stranded circular DNA molecule of about 3 kb size. So this is the shape of the HBV. The nucleic acid that are present in the hepatitis B virus, it is approximately 42 nanometer particle, which has a double stranded circular DNA molecule, and its size is about 2 kb. Plasma of infected human has been detected to have varying amount of HB antigens. Three types of viral coat proteins are recognized to be antigenic: viral surface antigen, viral coat antigen, and E antigen. So you need to remember these three types of viral coats. These are really important. After the infection, in human being, HBV fails to multiply and infect a large number of cells, and even does not grow in cultured cells. So once a human being, any human being who is infected, this virus will fail to multiply and infect a large number of cells, and even does not grow in cultured cells. So you will not be easily able to know if you grow any culture by separating it from a human being. So it will get a little bit of tough. But how does this happen? There are many HBS gene subunits that are produced for from product that are used for the production of recombinant hepatitis B vaccine. So this property has been explained to be due to the hindrance of its molecular characterization and expression, and thus helps in development of the vaccine. It is a hindrance, of course, because its molecular characterization, as we have seen in earlier, that its size is in nanometer, 3 kb size, right? So the molecular characterization can create a hindrance to understand the property, but it helps in the development of the vaccines. Although the whole viral genome can be cloned and sequenced, yet there is limited information about amino acid sequence of surface and core antigens. So although the whole viral, you can clone, you can make a number of clones or copies, xerox copies, and you can set it according to the required sequence, yet there is a limited information about how amino acid sequence of surface and core antigen are. So it is a question mark. Now, as we go further, there are some of the benefits that we have to see. The benefits of recombinant hepatitis B vaccine. Ideally, traditional vaccines used traditional vaccine you use a weakened or killed form of virus to force the body to develop antibodies that are strong enough to combat the virus. The vaccine uses surface antigens of the virus that stimulate the production of protective antibodies. There are some steps involved in RBV production. These steps are like are as follows. First is HB, that is hepatitis B antigen producing gene is isolated from HB virus by normal isolation process. So whatever antigen that HB virus have normally, it is separated first, it is isolated first. A plasmid DNA is extracted from a bacterium E. coli and is cut with restriction enzyme E. coli, forming the plasmid vector, right? So what is the second step? First step is need to isolate the antigen, HB antigen. Second step is a plasmid DNA is extracted from a bacterium E. coli. You have to separate a plasmid DNA, right, from E. coli and is cut with restriction enzyme. You know what the uh, role of restriction enzyme is, as we have already covered it in our past video lectures. E. coli forming the plasmid vector, it forms what? It forms the plasmid vector. Now what is the role of the vector? The isolated HB antigen producing gene is located and inserted into the bacterial plasmid vector on forming the recombinant DNA. So ultimately the goal is to form a recombinant DNA. It is called recombinant because why it is called recombinant? Because you are doing some genetic manipulation, right? Now what are the manipulation? The antigen that you have isolated, uh, and you have the next that you have made the plasmid vector, that is bacterial plasmid vector. You are joining both of them, you are inserting both of them together, and that will make a new DNA, which is known as recombinant DNA. Now, this recombinant DNA, which is also called rDNA, containing the target gene, is introduced into yeast cell, forming recombinant yeast cell. So, as we have already seen earlier, that yeast production of recombinant DNA via yeast cell have shown benefits to maintain the immunity strong, right? So it will activate the immunity. So this rDNA containing target gene, which has targeted gene, right, is now introduced inside the yeast cell. The recombinant yeast cell will next multiply in the fermentation tank and produce HB antigens. So this is very very easy to understand, because the recombinant yeast cell will multiply when you get all the cells into the tank, and it will create copies of HB antigens that are to be targeted. But it is not over yet. The fermentation process will involve growth of S. cerevisiae on a complex fermentation medium which consists of an extract of yeast, soy peptone, dextrose, amino acid, and mineral salts. So the fermentation process will involve the growth of S. cerevisiae, right? So This is a kind of a complex fermentation medium which consists of an extract of yeast, soy peptone, dextrose. These are some of the materials that will be used. After 48 hours, yeast cells are ruptured to free the HbA antigens. Right. So once the time limit is over, you need to rupture the yeast cells so that they can release the hepatitis B antigens, and the mixture is processed for extraction. Now, the HB antigen protein is released from the yeast cell by cell disruption and will be purified by a series of physical and chemical methods. Once you separate the HB antigen protein, you will need to purify the physical and chemical methods. The purified protein is treated in phosphate buffer with formaldehyde and then co-precipitated with alum to form bulk vaccine adjuvanted with amorphous aluminum hydroxyphosphate sulfate. Each dose will contain less than 1% protein. So, how to explain this? When HB antigen protein is released from the yeast cell, you will first purify it. That purified protein, that you will treat it with a buffer with formaldehyde and then co-precipitate with alum to form a bulk vaccine, right? So that it increases in the bulk, and then you will mix different amorphous aluminum hydroxyphosphate sulfate, and the vaccine will be ready. Each dose will contain one less than 1% of protein. HB antigens are combined with preserving agent and other ingredient and sealed in a glass bottle. This is the final step. In final step, what happens? They will be sealed in a bottle. This is the packaging step. Now, to understand the production of recombinant HB vaccine, you will need to go through this figure. This figure is not that hard to understand. In this figure, as you can see on your left, starting from your left, you can see that there is a HB vaccine, right? And from that, there is a virus that is being shown here. This virus, well, you have to first separate out, isolate, as we understood the steps, that first you have to isolate the HB virus, right? Sorry, antigen. That antigen you have to take first antigen, then you have to take the bacteria. As you can see in the down portion, there is bacterial DNA. Here it is shown that bacteria, you have to separate plasmid DNA. That plasmid DNA you will be mixing with the HB antigen producing gene, right? This will form a recombinant DNA. This recombinant DNA will be multiplied. You will separate, you will first transfer the recombinant DNA into recombinant yeast cell. That yeast cell will be put inside a fermentation tank. There it will multiply, and as you can see, there are HB antigens that are already multiplied, right? Which is magnified and showed here, right? Now, from the fermentation tank, once the multiplication of the recombinant cells or the HB antigen is completed, it will go under the process of extraction and purification of HB vaccine, and it will be collected into the bottle. So this is the basic, these 8 steps are really easy to understand, the separation of the extraction and purification of the HB vaccine. So dosage and schedule. Now comes the dosage and schedule. If you talk about recombinant Combivax HB, persons from the birth through 19 years of age, a series of 3 doses given on 0, 1 and 6 months schedule. So you need to understand this. Adolescent 11 through 15 years of age, a series of 3 doses given on 0, 1 and 6 months schedule, or a series of 2 doses on 0 and 4 to 6 month schedule. Person 20 years of age and older, or series of 3 doses given on 0 to 1 and 6 month schedule. Now, if we talk about dialysis formulation, RHB, that is Recombivex HB dialysis formulation, adults on pre-dialysis and dialysis, they need to be given a series of 3 doses on 0, 1, and 6 months, because there are patients who also have a kidney dialysis. So, in case of that, you need to give 3 doses on 0, 1, 6 month schedule. So now we are moving forward to our last product, that is insulin. We are going to study about insulin in detail, what is insulin and how it is produced, etc. Almost insulin is a lot famous, and you must have heard about insulin from different subjects, from different faculties, from different seminars, webinars, etc. And almost everyone knows about insulin. You will get to the reason why everybody knows about insulin. So here we go. The hormone insulin produced by beta cells of islets of Langerhans. It is not islets. It is pronounced islets of Langerhans of pancreas. Human insulin contains 51 amino acid arranged in two polypeptide chain. The chain A has 21 amino acid while B has 30 amino acid. Both are held together by disulfide bonds. So, and please remember this. Here is the figure. You can see in the figure, it clearly mentions that chain A has 21 amino acid and chain B has 30 amino acid. Even if you remember the figure, you will be able to answer the question if they are asked in the MCQ or any competitive exams. Right, this is the basic thing. Right, and as you can see, there are some SS, that means sulfur sulfur disulfide bonds present, and they both are connecting the chain A and chain B. Right. So please remember the structure of insulin and how much there are total 51 amino acid. Don't forget the digit. Right. And they are arranged in two polypeptide chains. Right. So diabetes mellitus, genetically linked disease characterized by increased blood glucose concentration, that is hyperglycemia. The occurrence is due to inefficient or insufficient. Inefficient is incompetent insulin. Insulin facilitates the cellular uptake and utilization of glucose for release of energy. So it is a genetically linked disease. First, everyone have to clear that it is a genetically linked disease which is characterized by increased blood glucose concentration. This is also known as hyperglycemia. In the absence of insulin, glucose accumulates inside the bloodstream at higher concentration, usually in the urine. When the blood glucose concentration exceeds about 180 milligram per dl, glucose is excreted into the urine. The patients of diabetes are weak, tired, since the production of energy, that is ATP, is much depressed. So you need to understand this. And also about the normal blood glucose levels, you need to keep, you have to remember the values so that you can help anyone who has high blood sugar, high blood glucose level. Now, before I go further, I would like to mention that this the more serious, there are some of the more serious complications that have been seen in the diabetes. In diabetes, complication can be kidney damage, that is called nephropathy, eye damage, that is called retinopathy, nerve disease, that is called neuropathy, and circulatory disease, that is called atherosclerosis or stroke. Right. In fact, diabetes, you need to understand that diabetes is the third leading cause of death after heart disease and cancer in many developed countries. So please keep this in mind. This is also one of the reason that why almost everyone, or almost many people out there knows about insulin or diabetes. Right. So now, isolation of insulin from the animals. We are focusing on production of insulin. These topics are under the production of insulin and recombinant insulin. So basic step in rDNA, what are the basic steps? First of all, if we talk about the rDNA, before we move to the basic steps in rDNA, I would like to mention about the isolation of insulin from the animals. In early years, insulin was isolated and purified from pancreas of pigs and cows, which was used for the treatment of diabetes. There is a very slight difference by 1 to 3 amino acid in the structure of animal insulin compared to human insulin, right? Remember this, right? This resulted in allergy in some of the diabetic patient when animal insulin was administered. And the second problem with animal insulin is that large number of animals have to be sacrificed for extracting insulin from their pancreas. for ins- for example, when you about 70 pigs giving about 5 kg pancreatic tissue have to be killed to get insulin for treating a single diabetic patient just for 1 year. So isolation from animals is a really tedious and cruel method to get insulin. The second is recombinant insulin. About recombinant insulin, there have been made a lot of attempt to produce insulin by rDNA technology, and it all started in late 1970. The basic technique consisted of inserting human insulin gene and the promoter gene of lac-operon onto the plasmid of E. coli or Escherichia coli. By this method, human insulin was produced. So remember this, the basic technique consisted of inserting a human insulin gene and the promoter gene of lac-operon onto the plasmid. It was in July 1980, 17 human volunteers were for the first time administered recombinant insulin for treatment of diabetes in London. Insulin was the first ever pharmaceutical product of recombinant DNA technology uh, that was administered to humans, and this worked really well, and it gave a hopes to the scientists that DNA technology could be successfully employed to produce substance of medical and commercial importance. So on approval by the concerned authorities for using recombinant insulin for the treatment of diabetes mellitus was given in 1982, and then in 1986 Eli Lilly company received approval to the market human insulin under the trade name of Humulin. You have to remember the word Humulin, and you can also search in Google about this Humulin Eli Lilly company. That was the first company that received the approval to market human insulin, right? So now we move on to basic steps in rDNA technology. The basic steps, at first you have to isolate a suitable vector that is commonly known as plasmid vector from E. coli, and then it is cut open by restriction endonuclease enzyme. The gene of interest is isolated from beta cells and inserted in the plasmid. Plasmid and gene of interest are recombinant together by DNA ligase enzyme. The recombined plasmid is inserted into suitable host cell, and now this recombined host cell starts producing insulin hormone. So this was all about production. Thank you so much. We are going to continue about how in the next chapter we are going to see about the some of the basics of PCR, brief introduction to PCR. Although you have already studied about PCR in some points of PCR in a past lectures, we will see about PCR. The studying of insulin, that is insulin, yeah, Recombivex, and the first one that we have seen was about interferon. So these are some of the miracles that were created by rDNA technology and genetic engineering in the production, how you are producing. So please keep on referring all the points. If you don't understand, you can ask anything in the comment box, right? And also, if you have any questions related to any uh, topics regarding biotechnology as per the as per your syllabus, you can also ask in the comment section. Thank you so much. We will continue with brief introduction to PCR in our next video lecture. Thank you so much.